Boom, we're live.
So, yeah.
Probably the best week of college football so far.
It has been great. It's been a great day. A lot of great games.
Well, I'm gonna let you start off with your Tide.
Yes.
Y'all had a huge game today.
I was nervous going to this game. I'm not going to lie. And it is the way that it went for the first half. I was still nervous, going into the second half. So, um, but Bama did make some adjustments and come back. I don't know if he gave Milroe a speech, threatened to take him out, whatever, but he obviously did play better in the second half. End up, getting one TD. He did have the one interception he threw, but overall he seemed to at least be willing to make throws other than like just these little dump passes short that he was doing. And of course, getting the running game involved again was key. Jason McClellan being a big part of that. So, still six penalties, 60 yards, and 2 of those took points off the board. So, I hate seeing that, but
Yeah, I'm about convinced. I don't care if all of Alabama's team is paraplegic. Lane Kiffin cannot beat Nick Saban. I think
he was definitely trying, but they were having some self-inflicted trouble as well, penalty-wise, and you could tell he was frustrated in the game. So,
well, the West is still wide open. Now the contenders is what? Bama, LSU. Did Arkansas win today?
No, they played LSU and they ended up losing there right at the end.
And I guess you could put A&M there because they're still undefeated in SEC play, right?
As far as I know, yeah, they
Auburn
won big against Auburn. So,
yep.
Yeah, I was thinking Auburn might get something going, but as we discussed previously, Kyle Field and that whole environment, it's a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, I wish I'd have just went with my brain and not my gut. I thought they would have been undefeated by the time Georgia got to them. I was wrong. Another great game, like real nail biter that I enjoyed watching today, and I watched every play of it. Oregon takes down Colorado. One of the beautifulest games I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean we kind of were. I did not. Did he have a meltdown or?
Yeah, hang on. You go ahead and tell me your thoughts on the game, and I'll show you the halftime speech real quick.
Well, I mean, Oregon did what I thought. I think what both of us thought they were going to do. They come out and they just mashed them from the get-go, and it was clear the division, who's up here and who's down here as far as the talent and all that goes. I mean, it's just Colorado, and especially Coach Prime, has been saying how great they are, and I think here's
the halftime speech Dan Lanning gave to his team.
Okay,
let me see if I can get to it real quick.
The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. There's a difference, right? There's a difference. Right? This game ain't going to be played in Hollywood. It's going to be played on the grass. Right? It's going to be played on the grass. The Cinderella.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. But, yeah, he even said that in the post game. He's like, yeah, some people are here for YouTube. Some people are here to play football. And I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I'm sure Colorado's going to win some more games this season, but
it ain't gonna be next week, Hoss.
Just they need to pump the brakes a little bit on the.
Yeah, Deion,
especially this chest beating type stuff.
Yeah, Deion still kind of gloated a little bit in his post game. He was like, "Yeah, that was a good team, but they better beat us now because it's gonna be the weakest we'll ever be." I'm like, "Really, dude?" But No, next week they go to USC. That's not going to be pretty either.
Yeah, one would think USC would definitely do about the same as Oregon did to them.
Now, Oregon versus USC, I'm excited to watch that game eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia's game just finished up. The offense looks a hell of a lot better. The defense, the secondary, which I get it, Bullard, our star secondary safety, he's out. I think we had 6 starters out for this game, and the offense still looked worlds better than they have been the rest of the weeks.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like they're not a championship team. You can watch it and see that the spark's not there. But they are improving every week, and the offense is now starting to turn the lights on. Like they're going deep. Carson's feeling more comfortable. But I definitely think they catch some losses this year.
Bauer stepped up big in this game for y'all.
Yes, he did. 2 touchdowns, I think over 150 yards.
See, now Georgia can do some of this beating their chest because that win, consecutive win record you got going. I mean, that's more than Colorado can say. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've got more than 3. So, But just like every other team in the history of football, eventually it's going to stop.
Right.
You can't win them forever. Washington looks like they're taking care of business. Here we go. Boom, perfect timing. Michigan beats Rutgers 31-7. Who'd have thunk it? Texas. Florida State, Clemson. We're going to talk about that game in a minute, and the Ohio State Notre Dame.
Right.
Penn State rolls. And Colorado gets smashed. All right, so I did watch every bit of the Florida State Clemson game, and it took me by surprise going into that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Jordan just looked lost half the game. And then finally when they started to turn it on, it was because of Wilson, that wide receiver they got.
Mm-hmm.
And then did you watch the game? Like, did you hear the story about the kicker that Clemson had?
I didn't hear the story, but I just saw kind of towards the end there. But
so he was on the team the last 3 years. Then they got another kicker, so he left, right? Like he just became a student. He's fine with it, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Well, the kicker kept messing up, so they called him up Sunday. Like this last Sunday was when he got the call. So like, what a Cinderella story. He's made 3 out of 3, and here comes he makes this, and they're gonna win the game, and he misses it wide right. And it was the funniest shit because they were setting up for that moment, and it just backfired completely.
Yeah, it was. He missed it bad.
Mm-hmm. But Clemson definitely surprised me. I thought for sure they were just, it makes you wonder, like, you can't do college football math, but is Duke that good?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think so, but they beat UConn today. Of course, it is UConn. Maybe so. Maybe they are better than we're giving them credit for.
We'll find out more about Duke next week because they got Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So, but that's another one that's kind of wide open. You still got Duke, North Carolina, and Florida State fighting for it.
Mm-hmm.
So going into where we're at right now, before we get into the Ohio State Notre Dame game, who's your favorites in each conference? Let's start with the ACC.
Well, let me think about it.
While you're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and say the Noles. I think Clemson might have been their hardest test.
Yeah. Florida State, they seem to have things the most together of all the teams that I've seen play thus far this season.
Yeah. All right, let's go Big 12. I guess you got to say Texas at this point, right? Even though Oklahoma's still undefeated, Texas has the best win.
Yes.
Probably the best roster in the Big 12.
Definitely. And their QB, I would think he'd get the edge as well.
All right. Let's go Pack. Is it Oregon or USC? If they were to play right now in a neutral site game, who you putting your money on?
I'd probably say Oregon.
I'm with you. I'm not surprised with you saying that. I feel like USC still hasn't really showed me shit. Yeah, they're putting up points, but their defense isn't stopping nobody.
Right.
And then let's end with the best conference that's still wide open, SEC. I still don't even have a pick on this SEC.
Oh, okay. Man. I mean, Georgia's definitely going to be, from the looks of things, they're going to be there in the SEC championship game. So who they're facing, I think, still yet to be determined. But I don't know.
I don't know if Georgia will be there, man. There's
you think so?
There's one team that's worrying me in the East, and they're sliding by under the radar, winning every game, and that's Kentucky. Kentucky is looking good every fucking week, and Georgia still hasn't played a complete game. So with that being said, I think the winner is going to come from the West. The question is who's going to step up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still have, quite a few of the opponents to play, so anything could happen there. I think I said in my preseason that if there was any team I thought we would catch a loss against, it would be A&M.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would say us or A&M at this point, but I'm always going to have faith in my team.
I will say one thing.
Even though it might get shaken sometimes.
Yeah. I will say one thing that benefits both of our teams. I don't think any coach out there besides Kirby and Nick adjust game by game and get better each week as good as they do. That being said, that definitely benefits us because no one's really stepping up. And if Georgia and Bama just keep getting better, that's just what's going to happen. Like, they're going to adjust. Like, every time Georgia's down, third quarter they come out. There was another thing they showed on the thing. This year so far, Georgia's 56-0 in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about adjustments. And if Georgia just keeps tweaking and tweak, and same as Bama, you saw this week was Bama's best week of football.
Yeah.
It's really going to, like, you should have caught us early if you were going to do it. But there is certain teams out there that could. Go ahead.
Do you think Auburn's going to have a little bit more motivation, considering they lost this week as far as facing y'all? I don't know.
Auburn looked like complete shit. Like that was it, Peyton Thorne.
Mm-hmm.
There was literally one drive I watched him, and they started getting a little bit momentum. Sack, tries to run, gets 2 yards. Then the third down play, I shit you not, he had his running back on a wheel route. Like, the next person was 20 yards away. Overthrows him by 15. The moments are too big for this guy. This guy is not a starting quarterback.
Yeah. That's a fair assessment.
I don't think it's Hugh Freeze's fault. If you look at that roster he had when he came in, it's a lot of work. So I'm not too stressed. I mean, you always stress, being a Bama fan, this. Jordan Hare's something you always worry about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just don't think they have enough this year. Let's see here. I'm going to put on something else. Let's try this. Right. Fake champions versus Kansas State here.
Okay. Yeah, that was a year of football.
Oh, this game is over. So
the supposed fake champions. But yeah,
oh, God.
They're nowhere near where they used to be.
We beat Auburn. Who hasn't?
Yeah, who was their coach that time? I think he might be in our conference now.
Wasn't it Scott Frost?
I don't know. I thought it was Heupel ever there? I thought he was the coach at UCF. I
thought when they did all that, it was Scott Frost.
Maybe it was.
And then he went to Nebraska, and then it just all fell apart.
Who am I thinking?
I don't know. Heupel was – was he in – let's see. Hang on. I'll double check the year. Okay, 2017.
He was 18 to 20. Yeah.
Scott Frost. All right, here we go. Let's see. We got Arizona State. God, I like brain farted for a good 10 seconds there versus USC. And just terrible coverage. But we do have a game. This is a lot better than the last two games we were watching.
No, yeah.
All right, so let's get into this Ohio State-Notre Dame game. I didn't get to watch a lot of it because Georgia was playing the same time. I kind of want to get your input on it, see if you can fill me in on exactly what went down.
Well, I mean, it was to me. It seemed like Ohio State had a better game plan from the beginning. Of course, now it was fairly close. It was only 3-0 at the end of the first half. So, but to me, that it came down to who could manage the clock better there at the end, and that's where they ended up scoring. It was right. I thought it was like right as the time was expiring, but of course they ended up having about, I want to say, 6 or 8 seconds left. Notre Dame tried one of their last-ditch effort to throw the ball here and there, and of course that didn't work out. But
so how did Hartman play? Because Hartman was a Heisman favorite for the last 2 weeks.
Well, see, I'd have to see his exact, because I didn't get to see all of it. I was flipping around kind of during that time, but he was had 175 yards, 17-25. So
now, were you flipping around or were you looking for Bible verses?
I might have looked for a verse or two at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so going into Heisman then, I think so. Who did you pick before the season started? My pick, I think, is still alive. Quinn Ewers. Carter picked Jordan from Florida State.
I wanted to say, didn't I pick USC? Did I pick? No, I didn't.
I
trying
think
to remember.
I just picked Caleb, but did you pick him as well?
I wanted to say there was one. Who was the other? I'm trying to remember. Let me see.
You didn't pick Milroe.
No, I did not. Let's see here.
Did you pick Drake May from North Carolina?
Yeah, I think I may have.
I was gonna say I don't think there was any SEC player picked for Heisman out of us four.
No.
So I think we're all still alive as far as our Heisman picks. I know Shedeurs just went down.
Mm-hmm.
Hartman just went down. Cade Klubnik was never up. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. I don't think mine's going to play out because his only Heisman moment he's going to have is the Bama game.
Yeah.
Like that schedule is pretty soft.
You think Jordan Travis has any chance?
I do. It was a tie between him and Quinn for my picks.
Okay.
If he can continue going, I mean, who's left for him to beat? Drake May on his schedule, and then Florida. It's hard to say, man, because it's the craziest year we've ever had, and nobody's looking like a number one team. So, I don't know, man. When you look at strength of schedule, who has it at this point?
Yeah.
This has been one of the first years since probably 2007. I'm almost at a loss of words for what's going on in college football.
Yeah, it's been something else. I just in our conference, because I mean, let's face it, we all follow it probably more closely than the others, but just the way like our teams and then some of the other teams that are known for being fairly competent and winning games that they should win instead of struggling
or losing.
or losing. Yep.
Like I would have probably bet my whole mortgage before the season that Tennessee's beating Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. No one's really stepping up to take that SEC throne.
But getting a slow start is something that I think both of our teams have in common this year.
Yeah.
And just,
I don't know. New quarterbacks, new coordinators. We're both dealing with the same issue.
Right. I was hoping maybe by the time we got to this part of the schedule, that might be different, but it may just be our team's identity for the season. I don't know.
Now, who does Bama got next week?
Mississippi State at Mississippi State.
Y'all should handle that one, no problem.
One would think.
I don't think you're going to see another South Florida game this year.
It's just like, since we got that one in the L category, I don't want to try to say like, oh, we're going to definitely beat whoever, because while it's in our heads, it's definitely in our opponents' heads as well. They're like, hey, they already got this or that. Now, granted, they've had a little bit more problems than we've had, but still, it's just like Georgia. Everybody still wants to beat Bama too. So
yeah,
we may not be the defending champs, but
yeah, the loss y'all had was not in conference,
right?
So I mean, it's still all in front of you.
Yep. And I hope the players see that, and definitely should play like, hey, it's ours to lose, as far as the West goes. So,
like I said, I think Georgia catches at least one loss this season in the regular season. I just don't think it's going to be to Auburn.
Yeah.
Like Peyton just. You didn't watch any of that game, did you?
Oh no.
Peyton Thorne looks rough, and their fans are just so dumb. But the defense didn't look that bad.
I'm going to see here on y'all's remaining schedule. So do you think out of who you've got left, Kentucky's the only one you got to worry about? Or
I say there's 3 games I'm worried about. Kentucky, the cocktail party, because even if Florida wouldn't have won, I always worry about that game.
Uh-huh.
And Ole Miss.
Okay.
Because, I mean, even with y'all beating, Dart's a good quarterback. You can tell he's got intangibles.
Yeah.
And our secondary, and hopefully Bullard's healthy next week, because then that should clean up. But right now our secondary can get thrown on by anybody.
Yeah, the road, as far as road games, y'all just got the you've got 4 more, right? Yeah.
4 more roads?
I think so. Is that right? Auburn, Vandy, Tennessee, and then Georgia Tech. Of course, I guess some of those might.
Yeah, I think Georgia Tech will be another home game.
It seems like home's away from home, maybe.
Yeah. The Tennessee one, I mean, I'm looking at it because it's at Neyland.
Yeah.
That's really it. It's the same thing with Auburn. It's like, Jordan Hare, that sucks. But that Kentucky and the Ole Miss and Florida game, luckily they're 2 at home and then the neutral field. But God, it's gonna be something to watch out for. That game next week. Oh man, I really want to see if UFC could put up more points than Oregon.
I mean, they definitely can. I mean, they have the capabilities there. I mean, you got a Heisman caliber QB. So
I don't know, man. So Bama, I think, will probably go back in the top 10 this week.
I hope so.
Notre Dame, they'll probably be at the 9, 8. I don't think they move out of the top 10 with that loss. Colorado is going to fall, 25, 24?
Mm-hmm.
And then Oregon should move into the top 6, I'd say. But Auburn, still not going to be ranked.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tough one for them, I'm sure, today.
Like I said, man, I picked him to beat A&M, but that quarterback just couldn't get his feet under him. It seemed like, unless he was trying to take off and run, he just looked scared in the pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll get our chance in the Aggie lands on the 7th. So.
Yeah. Oh.
I saw some hard hitting going on in our game. I don't know about y'all's, but
we had a lot of players getting flipped. Literally, like Georgia would go and tackle, and the guy'd flip in the air, and Georgia's players would be flipping. It was a lot of weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like they haven't learned that, hey, everybody's banged up, so let's not get hurt. They're just like, fuck it, let's all try to get on the sidelines.
Right.
But Georgia's, like I said, not only are they starting to sling it deep, but they're also establishing their run finally. Now that Dejon's healthy, Dejon Edwards and Bell are kind of carrying the load.
Yeah, we had, I think it was one of our guys today. He got ejected, and it was in the third quarter for targeting. So he'll be out at least the first half of the next game. So are they still enforcing that?
Yeah, I believe so. Oh, he did not catch that. Yeah, I don't think Georgia's really getting ate up with penalties just yet. But, God, the turnovers. I think, we lost 2 to fumbles, but we fumbled 4 times this game. And it was kick returns, the running back, player catch it, and he'd drop it 2 steps. And, dude, figure it out already.
Yeah.
It's stupid shit. Like if you lose a game because the team's better than you, fine. But getting beat just because of turnovers or flags, I can't accept that.
Right. Yeah, the penalties, especially some of the ones we get, just keep nagging at me. And like our center, God bless him, but I'll be glad when he's gone after this season. But I think he should be gone. But he had one game where he was snapping it low, like worm burners on the ground, and then he had today where he was way up high and about messed up, and thankfully Milroe was able to get the ball in, but it was numerous times he did that today, and I was just very frustrating. I mean, he ended up having a good block later on that led to a score, but still.
Now, is Milroe actually looking downfield, or has he still got that I want to take off and run kind of edge to him?
Well, that's the thing. First half, it was pretty much all that. Like he did not want to stay in the pocket, and he would run outside, and a lot of times put him in. It was usually a loss on the play when he would do that, or he was doing those short dumps, and then. Actually, he tried a couple of long passes, but totally overthrew. And then when he came out in the second half, it was almost like a switch had been flipped. And, he was just, in general, just playing a lot more solid, I thought.
I tell you what team really disappointed me this week. I expected a lot more from UTSA, and they just let me down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was. I was definitely thinking, hey, they could go either way, but I really think Tennessee fans were just letting their emotions get the better of them after that Florida loss. So,
And do you know who UAB's head coach is?
yeah, isn't he like a former? Was he in the NFL at one point? I'm trying
He
to remember.
was. He was a quarterback.
I can't remember the name, but
Trent Dilfer.
Dilfer, that was it. Okay.
I had no idea he was coaching.
Now, does he have ties to UAB any prior, or is it just
I don't think so.
okay?
But I was watching there's this podcast they do that has Aaron Murray, Noshawn Marino, Ben Jones, and Tavares King. And they all have a Georgia podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about this game, and Murray's like, I hope we score 80. I can't stand Trent Dilfer. And they're like, oh, I guess we'll find out after the show. You can tell us. He goes, no, I'll say it right here. He goes, when I was in the Elite 11 with Mark Sanchez and everybody, we used to go and, when you did an Elite 11, you'd have practice, then you'd go to like Disney, or you'd have practice and you go to, out to eat and have fun. He goes, Dilfer came in and just made it a competition to everybody and kind of just ruined it for all 17-year-olds. He goes, even when I was there coaching and Dilfer kind of took over. And he's like, me and him had words back and forth, and he's just a crap human. I'm like, geez.
Well,
yeah. It's there's definitely some animosity there. But they got a cool podcast. It's called what is it? I think it's Beyond the Field or something like that. Where every week, two Georgia players go out to this place that does chicken and waffles in Athens, and they just talk about the game and BS. I'm like, man, it's kind of cool now with NIL. We get to see that side because before even if they're not getting paid, coaches aren't gonna let them do that.
That's true.
Now it's wide open, and it's kind of cool to see because, like I said, I told you that they were all tuned in for the Bama-Texas game, and apparently Kirby preaches to them SEC importance. So apparently they were all cheering for Bama.
Wow.
So it's something I never would have thought of, but apparently Kirby's heavy on it because he wants and I think it was Malachi Muse made a good point. He's like, if the SEC looks strong, it makes our schedule look stronger if we're going to play in these ranked teams. He goes, even if there's no chance of us playing them, and he goes, apparently Kirby's pretty much said if Georgia's out of it, and let's say Bama or Auburn, whatever's in the playoffs, you're pulling for those teams.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't feel the same. If Florida is playing anybody, I hope Florida gets demolished.
Yeah.
But
my family even they're some of my family members are all like pro SEC on stuff, and they think I'm being unreasonable for not being that way. I'm just like,
the only time I'm pro SEC is during the bowl games, and it's every team but Florida. I still want them to lose.
Yeah.
But if we can go in there and go 10-1 with one of them being the Florida loss, that's a good win.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Did you see the announcement? I noticed some of the halftime breaks. They were mentioning this about the Division III female player that got to play in a game today.
No.
So for Shenandoah University.
Okay.
I just know some of them were mentioning it that was a historic, thing for college football.
What position?
I wanted to say she's a defensive player.
Wow, really?
Haley Van Voort, I guess Voorhees, he says Voorhis.
I'll look her up real
But
quick.
yeah. I think
Boy,
what she ended up registering is a quarterback hurry on third down.
She plays for the SU Hornets.
For Shenandoah University, yeah. She's 5'6", 145 pounder, junior.
Jesus, she's got some guns too, man.
Yep.
Good Lord. Where'd that picture go? Oh, it's a rotating picture. I'm fucking stupid.
But yeah, I just wondered. I saw a couple of the.
It's like if Trevor Lawrence actually worked out.
yeah.
Good for her.
I could definitely see it. But yeah, there was a couple of the, halftime reports or whatever they were mentioning this. So.
I'm trying to figure out what position she is.
Again, it's Division III. So,
yeah, it's still cool. Like I respect that a lot more than Sarah Fuller walking on to kick a 2-yard kickoff.
Yeah. That's why they said a woman non-kicker to appear in an NCAA football game. So.
Okay, I got you. I wonder did she get a tackle or anything?
Well, I guess is a QB hurry. Is that?
We'll see. Fucking really? How is it that I can play Hulu no problem, but these videos on ESPN lag out every time?
It must just be the plug-in they use, I guess.
German trips left, throws
yeah, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
I
Hell
think
yeah,
Quinn
good for her.
Stevens heard a lot of footsteps and came up empty at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, Quentin Stevens has made some nice plays early on.
Cool.
Yeah. I just thought I'd mention it because they were saying it was a, I'll use the air quotes again. That's not me trying to downplay it. I'm just saying they were saying it was historic. So.
Well, like I said, I can respect that a lot more than just a little pooch kick here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
And is he going to make it? No. But, I mean, it's something. I don't really know what to say about it. Just good for her.
I mean, I get it. Some girls are, might have an interest in that.
Yeah.
But I would think it'd be a hard sell to really get a lot of ladies to want to play that, sport specifically over other sports,
Like I said, she's pretty yoked. If this doesn't work out, she'd probably go WWE.
Yeah, that's true.
Ooh, shuffle pass. Ooh,
I guess at the end of the day, people who want to be athletes, they can be athletes at whatever sport they want to. It's just you just got to have the drive for it and want to put in the work. And obviously, she's doing that. So,
I wonder how the locker room goes, though.
That is a good question.
Like, is it just? She's getting changed somewhere else, but I'm saying, like, how awkward is that locker room when, like, it's speeches and stuff and you're looking over, she's in her pad just mean mugging you.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, do you think the hype around this whole Colorado shit's finally done, or they need that second loss to finally put a nail in it?
Well, I mean, I guess you could always make the argument, well, it's just one loss. They can, we'll see how they do in the other games. But it's like you mentioned, they got another tough task coming. Doesn't
Well, it's
really
not even
look
like they just lost though. They got humiliated.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But here's the thing:
I would think as far as a playoff contender, you know, because I'm sure Dion probably thought that's a possibility, but
Mhm.
I think after today you can pretty much say that's not a possibility. Doesn't mean they're a terrible team, you know.
No,
But if you put it as far as like these are playoff teams, these are not ready for the playoff teams.
I'm glad the bubble got popped today. But at the same breath, here's where I'll stick up for Colorado a little bit. People are going to start once because they're going to catch another loss next week. They're probably looking at 3 more losses by the end of the season. People have to remember their over-under this year was 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't change the grading of the curve just because they're doing good. So if they get, 5 or bowl eligible, that's a huge win.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget that. Like last year, people were dogging LSU after the SEC championship. They were only projected 8 wins that year. That's a huge, huge win for Brian Kelly. It'd be
I still don't like him.
Oh, I don't either. But I don't like either of the coaches I just mentioned. But it'd kind of be like if Auburn got 4 wins this year. It's like, hey, you did it, buddy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's hate week for Auburn, and I'm just gonna keep it rolling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hugh Freeze is wanting to come in and show everybody that, like what he did when he was in the SEC before, that it's the same, and he may eventually get back there, but
I'm trying to think. Besides the Mississippi State, like who's the worst coach in the SEC West right now? Because let's be honest, Arkansas is not great, but Pittman's a good coach. Lane's a decent coach. Kelly's a good coach. Saban's a great coach. Hugh Freeze is a good coach. Like it's a lot of good coaching in that division right now.
Yeah.
The East, you got Kirby, great coach. Heupel, decent coach. Napier, a fucking ass clown. Like there's a lot of openings in the East.
Well, I mean, I guess who's Mississippi State? I guess he'd be an easy target, but
Right, but I'm saying who's the next one past them?
next one past.
I feel like we're missing a team. Jimbo? No, Jimbo's not bad though. I mean, I guess Pittman would be next.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, if he decides to leave, we'll take him back in a heartbeat.
Trying to build like the super coaching staff.
Hear me out. We already got Muschamp. We'll take Pittman back for our O-line because I don't know if you realize this, and Kirby kind of said it flat out. Like a lot of our beginning success was because of Pittman's recruiting. That dude can recruit his ass off.
Right.
The only thing we're missing is a really good offensive coordinator. So maybe he can call Sark. Or build like the super team.
Okay.
Well, we can't get Saban because Saban's not going to be anything but a head coach, right? And Georgia's not going to let Kirby not be our head coach. I'm just saying it's a possibility. We can get some. Actually, you know what? We'll take Lane. Just we're never going for it on 4th down because he's a fucking idiot.
He did that some today, and I mean, it did pay off most of the time for him.
Yeah, but he goes for it almost like 4 times a game.
Yeah,
and the percentage of him getting it is not great. I don't know when he's going to learn.
He likes to roll the dice. That's what I was saying today watching that game. I was like, I ain't gonna put anything past him. He likes to roll the dice, see what happens.
like I said, I'm still worried about Georgia and Ole Miss because I think Dart is a good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean he definitely made some plays today,
Yeah.
as far as moving the ball and
I'm gonna roll the dice here. I think that was y'all's hardest game besides that Texas game and the whole schedule. I don't think LSU is gonna give you that much of a fight. Same as A&M. I literally think that might be your hardest game. The question is can Bama get out of their own way and just play solid football?
Yeah, I mean, and I hope they can, but these penalties are still being a problem. It's like I said, taking points off the board.
Yeah,
and we just don't need to do that with some of the struggles we've been having offensively. The last thing we need to be doing is taking points off the board by a stupid holding penalty or something like that.
mm-hmm.
The false starts, that put us in a bad position. So
I got you. Well, man, anything else you want to talk about before we end it?
I guess not. We'll just I guess we'll be covering the following week when we come back again. But
Actually, before we end it, let's see what's the big games next week.
all right, let's get where we're looking at it.
All right, you got Utah versus Oregon State. Another rank versus rank. Florida, Kentucky. Okay, I'm gonna probably put money on this game that Kentucky wins. It's
Okay.
at Kentucky. Florida's actually ranked. Kentucky's not. But like I said, Kentucky's a sleeper right now in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you got the USC Colorado game, Georgia, Auburn, Kansas and Texas,
Ole Miss, LSU.
Ole Miss, LSU. That's actually a fun one right there. Who's going to bounce back?
Yeah.
And it's at Ole Miss. Man,
Should be a good one.
How about this one? Can Tennessee get revenge on South Carolina?
It's a home game for them, so
Yeah.
you would think they'd play better there.
You got the Bama, Mississippi State, Notre Dame, and Duke, which is going to be very interesting to watch, and then Washington, Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about all the big games.
Probably not quite as good as this week, but it's
But it's still not lackluster. Yeah, like there's still something to watch. Let's see. The Georgia Auburn's at 3:30. Florida, Kentucky's at 12. Oregon State and Utah's at 12. At 6 o'clock, you got LSU, Mississippi State. 7:30, South Carolina, Tennessee. 7:30, Notre Dame, Duke. So that's good. Everything's kind of spread. Oh, damn. Y'all play at 9 p.m.?
Yeah, it's gonna be a late game.
But that's good, though. Every time we go to watch something, a good game should be on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's kind of how you want it. Like I was so frustrated today at 12, flipping between 3 different games.
Yeah. Really, you have to or do the picture-in-picture, have something set up like that.
I wonder if you could do picture-in-picture on Hulu.
Well, I think you can do it on YouTube TV, but no.
Yeah,
I've never actually tried it, I guess.
I'm thinking about dropping Hulu and getting YouTube TV. I heard good things.
I did a what do you call it, a trial one time, but I didn't like their layout of their menu and stuff. Like the Hulu one seemed more like I guess what you have if you had cable or something. So it seemed a little bit better to quickly find games.
Now, I do like the fact they got one feature that Hulu does have. So, like, let's say you're watching a game and you're going back and forth between games. You just hit the down button and it shows all your recents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I use anyway. Like, what I do is when 12 o'clock hits, I click the first game, quickly get the second game, quickly get the third game. So, I got all of them right there under the menu.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do pretty much the same thing.
YouTube TV has 4 games in one picture at all times if you like that stuff. Okay. So when your team's not playing, because I don't know about you, I don't give a shit who's playing. My team's taking the full screen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But for those other games, man, picture in picture, that'd be kind of cool. We're gonna look into that tonight. All right, Hoss. Let's call it a stream here.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
See
sir.
y'all
Hopefully
next
everybody had a good Saturday.
Oh yeah.
See ya.